We touched on it a little bit earlier. I like the fact that my two main characters, Grim, who is my barbarian ranger half scrawn, and then Vigilantin Vig, who is more of a roguish. He was a Valadian knight, and
Oh,
he
cool.
became a disgraced knight and kind of was kicked out of the knighthood, and that's all part of the story you'll read about in Relentless Blades. But I like the fact that despite flaws that they have, mistakes they may make, that at their core, they're good characters. So for me, this is a book that I'd happily share with people, especially boys, right? You hear all the time, you kind of talk about men don't read as much, or, so
Yeah.
I wanted characters in a story like I grew up with that I would have wanted to read or still want to read, where you have men being men, but they're good, they're trying to do the right thing, they're honorable, they may make mistakes, they may fall down, but they're going to pick themselves up. So I want that to be something that people can read the book, and even throughout any troubles they have, you're still dealing with morally good people.
I think that's really cool, first of all, and I totally agree. And I feel that's like the this whole anti-hero thing. I'm like, I grew up on Chuck Norris. I grew up on Walker,
Mm-hmm.
Texas Ranger. You knew that if somebody harmed a woman, a
Yeah,
elderly person, a veteran, or a child, like he would go and get them, right? He would go and get them.
yeah.
And you got to cheer on the good guy. So I think that, I agree. I think when I discovered Dritz, I was like, holy cow, like complex character, right? Extremely flawed, but is trying to do the right thing. And I was like, I just really like as a middle school kid, like I don't know. I really looked to RA, like RA Salvatore, Elaine Cunningham, Richard Lee
Yep.
Byers. I got to interview Richard. I was like, that was like one of my
Oh,
life.
that's cool.
It was amazing. I got to tell him you're one of the like three main people that made me want to write. And he was like, please send me your book when you're done. I'm like almost done. I can't wait. But yeah, like just getting to read, heroes that are good, but are just, human, whether or not they're human or not, right? But are
Right.
just people, trying to do the right thing. I think that's why people still just love The Hobbit or, Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings so much, right? Is like I think that's why Sam's character speaks to so many people in particular. So I don't know. I think that's a really cool and aspiring goal there, Russell. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I won't let us derail it too much, but I grew up when Star Wars first came out, and so Luke Skywalker is a hero. He had made mistakes. He was a young kid, could be considered whiny at the beginning, but by the end, he was a morally good character, doing the right thing, believing in his father, even though his father had done terrible things. And then you fast forward to the sequel trilogy, and I think that's why a lot of us who grew up with that just really look at that and that's not the Luke Skywalker we grew up with. That's not the hopeful eh, person who's good and doing the right thing and would defend his friends. And so I do. I think that we need these good, especially male role models who are good characters, good people, doing the right thing, falling down, getting back up, and still continuing forward.
Yeah, and it's like that. I think that I don't think heard anybody explain it that well, actually, Russell. So I think that's actually a really great point because if you read the books, which I read so many of,
Yeah.
it's like I have to have read like, oh my gosh, like 300 books with Luke Skywalker is just this amazing paladin with the Force, and a couple comics, right, where like Dark Empire, whatever, where he goes to the dark side for a bit or whatever, comes back. But like I didn't really like that. But I think those are the two things, like, yeah, that really drove me nuts because it's like it's just the antithesis of the character. You tried to make a truly good hero and anti-hero, and like you said earlier, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work. They're just it's
Yeah.
not the right skin for them, and I think that that's a really valuable lesson for all of us to learn.
Yep.
So, oh, and by the way, never do what they did with Finn, okay? Make the character great no matter who they are, because that's what you promised, okay?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and Finn could
oh,
have been a fantastic character.
I agree. I totally agree.